Richard Hill Primary School in Thurcaston have recently been at the centre of a huge artistic project taking place here in Leicester. They've created a life-size replica of a 17th century garden following the discovery of an ancient document dating all the way back to 1694. Well, they worked with local artist Mandeep Dhadialla to bring the garden to life, with each year group at the school creating things such as leaves and fruits entirely out of paper sculptures. BBC Leicester's Zoe McGrady has been down at the school this week to hear all about the project.
Richard Hill Primary School in Leicestershire has recently been part of the creation of a life-size replica 17th century garden. The inspiration behind the project was the discovery of an ancient document unearthed right here in the Leicestershire Record Office. The document, dating back from 1694, detailed exactly how much a church rector spent on his garden and huge detail into what was grown in the garden 331 years ago. Well, Mandeep was the artist behind the project and spoke to me this week about how the creation came to life.
So when I looked at the actual document itself, I started to get a vision in my mind of how the garden might have looked. By the way it was documented, I then started to visualize an orchard and the hazelnut walk, and then the gooseberry trees, the fig trees. So in my head, I could see a sort of a trail happening. And all of that was centered around an island of cabbages. And so that's what the actual installation was sort of like revolved around, that island of cabbages. An orchard is made up of a few apple trees. So in my mind, I was like, okay, we can start to probably work with 3 or 4 apple trees. And then if we're going to be weaving in and out, we want to have a few trees dotted around so it looks more full. And we're working with the school as well, so lots of children to make an abundance of all these fruits. So yeah, in my mind, it was like, you know, a cluster of trees to be able to walk around and to just really bring it to life.
Richard Hill Primary School volunteered themselves to Mandeep to get involved with the art project, and I went down there this week to speak to Year 3 and 4 teacher Katie Tack and, of course, some of the children involved to hear how it all went.
So I am the geography and history lead for our school, and we work really closely with Charnwood Forest, and we've worked with Susan on other projects before. And it came about this document that she had found, and we wanted to think a way that we could combine our curriculum learning as well and make it into a bit more of an exciting event for the school, really, and to celebrate the history of the school. It was really good fun. The children had workshops with Mandeep where she taught us how to make all the different fruits and vegetables for the garden, and then we had this time period where we carried on doing that learning with them. And it was really good fun. They really enjoyed it. Very messy. But yeah, it was really good. And to see it all come to life and the children to kind of be able to share it with their parents and show their work was really lovely. Especially because of our school and you know, our local area. It's really important that we bring that to life for the children. And it can be really hard to do for young children to kind of picture how long ago things were. And for them to understand that context of time. So it's been a really lovely way to bring it to life for them.
I learned about the person who planted all the fruit and vegetables.
And which part of the project did you do? Did you do the fruits? Did you do the leaves?
We did the apples and the gooseberries, which basically was a bit hard only using paper.
You know what? It sounds difficult, don't it? Well, the ancient document was discovered by Heritage Education Officer Dr. Susan Kilby, who joins us now from the Charnwood Forest Geopark. Dr. Kilby, good morning to you and thank you for coming on the show.
Good morning.
A document going back all the way back to 1694. How did you go about finding this?
Well, as part of my job, I'm always in and out of the county record office, looking for things that will help us to tell the story of the incredible landscape of Charnwood Forest. And so when I found it, I realised that it was something quite special and that would help us to link this important period in Thurcaston, because it's dated only about 20 years before the school was founded. And the school was founded by a rector of Thurcaston, Richard Hill, of course. And Richard Hill felt that it was also important that as part of the creation of that school, that he planted an orchard and a new garden. So to a certain extent, the very first school building and the school grounds mirrored the garden that had been developed for the rectory.
This is like, I mean, this has come full circle almost then, Susan, with what's been going on, with this being recreated as well. What exactly did the document show? We heard about apples and the orchard there, and we heard about the kids making gooseberries and things like that. What else did it show?
Well, one of the most incredible things was that not only did it tell us what kinds of fruit and vegetable were being grown, but actually what variety. So we know that the Rector grew a heritage apple called John. This is a 16th and 17th century apple. And as part of this project, in addition to us working with Mandeep to recreate the garden in paper, we also had a new John apple grafted, and that was planted in the garden, in the new orchard for the school at the same time. So we've, for the first time in over 300 years, there is a John apple growing in Thurcaston, and it's just absolutely magnificent. So that was really exciting. But the Rector grew all sorts of really exciting things. One of the things that I found most exciting was that he had a filbert walk. Now, anyone who knows anything about Leicester City and the football ground know that they used to play at Filbert Street, and a filbert is actually a hazelnut. So he had a hazelnut walk. He grew figs. He was growing things like kidney beans, things that we wouldn't necessarily expect in a 17th century garden. It was really exciting to be able to recreate that.
Oh, I could listen to you, honestly, Susan. Having been a landscaper and a horticulturalist in a previous life, I find this fascinating. Did this lost piece of history, did it come to life through this artwork?
Oh, absolutely, yes. I mean, we had all sorts of people involved in this. So, of course, the children were getting involved. Our volunteers, we had the first Thurcaston brownies involved, our partners at Charnwood Arts. It was a real team effort, and I think that it was wonderful to see it all coming together. The children were really good at recreating what they felt that garden looked like. So the Rector had an island for 60 cabbages, so we created an island as part of the installation. There were places for people to sit, so we had a seating area, and it was just it was wonderful to see everyone kind of pulling together to bring this to life.
Oh, do you know what, Susan? Thank you so much for coming on the show this morning and explaining further about that. Heritage Education Officer, Dr. Susan Kilby there, who joins us from Charnwood Forest Geopark. I could listen to her talk about gardening all day long. There's more on that news type on the BBC News website, so make sure that you go and check that out.